Tell your stories. I find it very interesting today that a lot of people get up and they're so eager to tell everybody else's story. And the audience is sitting back wondering, well, how have you been impacted by that? How have you swallowed that same pill? Or you're suggesting that I use those particular time management strategies. Can you tell me how they have helped you? Sharing your own stories will make you authentic, but it will also keep people with you. I always tell people the story. People that know me, I have one child, my daughter, so I always speak about my daughter. But I share those experiences because sometimes when you're teaching people something or you want to be taught something, here's a key point. People, especially adults, do not want to know that you're force teaching them. If I know you're force teaching me, then I can start to put up my blockers and I can start tuning certain things out. Most people are that way. So you have to become skillful, and that's where Toastmasters helps us all. But at the same time, I always encourage people to add more of yourself into the message. More of yourself into the message. I remember Willie Jolly. He and I, when I first started out as a professional speaker, Willie Jolly and I, we were sitting in his car. He was catching a flight to go speak down in Florida. And we were sitting in his car, and I was a green professional speaker. I was just starting out then. And at that time, I was telling everybody else's story. But when Willie and I sat in the car, and Willie skillfully and tactfully just asked me a series of questions. And I had mailed Willie a videotape, at that time a VHS tape of me speaking. And he said, "Time, where are those personal stories you just shared with me? Because I didn't see that on the video." I said, "Well, Willie, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out, well, what stories do I tell and what stories don't I tell without airing all my dirty laundry?" And he said, "That's a good question, because that's what holds most of us back. What do I share? What don't I share?" And that's a very good question. However, you have to use the judgment, to whom am I speaking to? Because even in some of those heart-wrenching, those types of stories that we rather not relive, someone in your audience can find a solution to a problem or a challenge that they're going through. I remember in Toastmasters one time I did a presentation entitled "Chasing the Memories." And I told the story about how my great uncle, because my mother's an only child, so our aunts and uncles were great aunts and uncles, but my great uncle, when he used to take my brother and I out, because he was the male role model in our family, he would take us out, and he taught me and my brother through a ice cream cone what he called the facts of life. And we got an ice cream cone. In the ice cream cone, you had Rocky Road, we had orange sherbet, and we had vanilla. And he said, Rocky Road is that part of life where in life you're going to make poor choices, you're going to make mistakes. That's a part of life. But it's how you respond to those choices, those decisions, that will determine if you'll continue going downhill or if you'll quickly recover. And then he said the orange sherbet, that's that sweet part of life, where you're going to have a string of good days, and the object of that is to hopefully that you can string more good days together than bad days. And then he said the vanilla part of life is that purity of life. You know, when a baby comes into the world, that baby is completely innocent. A baby is completely innocent, and then life in the world starts to happen to that child as it begins to grow. And I share those types of stories. But I also shared in that presentation that how my mother, for a period of time in my life, from like the age of 8 through the age of 10, 11, you know, how she drank a lot. And we had some very chilling experiences with that. And that's why some friends of mine, I did 10 years in the Navy and I don't drink. I don't drink at all. One time we were out in the Philippines and a friend of mine from Texas. They wanted to play a joke, and they ordered Coke and put, vodka or something in it, and they switched my drink around. And you would have thought that if I could have gotten my hands on him that night, I probably wouldn't be here to speak to you today. Because this was a person that drank all the time. He would hand me his whole check, and I would give him every penny of it the next day when he was sober again. So I watch your back, but you play this game on me. And I did this presentation, Chasing the Memories, just to share my different stories with people. And a gentleman came up to me at the end of that, and he said, Ty, he said, just like your mother, he said, I was an alcoholic. He said, about 15 years of my life I can't remember, so I don't want to chase those memories. I said, it's nothing wrong with the memory, because it's who you are. No matter how you try to cut around it, it's still there, regardless if you remember it or not. It's a part of you. So it's okay sometimes to go back and chase those memories, or just reflect to learn from them, so that you can stand up in front of people, tell your story, and help someone else.